Glastonbury High Street on a warm summer's afternoon, and the beginning of a 7-hour goddess pilgrimage, which will circle the town and surrounding countryside.
Glastonbury is an ancient, sacred place. It is a place where the veils between the worlds are especially thin. Many people say Glastonbury is the heart chakra of the world. It is the energetic love centre of the world. This is a perfect place for a pilgrimage.
The interesting thing about doing a pilgrimage with a large group of people is it's the group dynamics. It's life-changing, and it's very, very moving, and you need time to process after.
This pilgrimage is to honour the Lady of Avalon, a goddess linked with the sacred Isle of Avalon, the land surrounding Glastonbury Tor. She's present in the landscape in many forms.
The land forms her body, and she is stretched out over the whole of the land. The Tor, the most significant point in Glastonbury, is her left breast, and the burial hill is her legs stretched out into the land, and she's lying with her arms over her head. So she's really lying in the land.
Walking the land in pilgrimage, her body lies in the earth. It's very visible in different forms. She is visible as a great swan in the landscape. She is visible as the lover, a luscious, abundant woman. She is visible as the great mother, and she is visible as an old crone. As we walk the land, we connect into these different aspects of who she is.
The land around Glastonbury has a long history of pilgrimage for Christians and others, and for goddess worshippers too. For many, the land is Avalon, where, according to legend, King Arthur and Queen Guinevere are buried.
Pilgrimage is always about opening the heart to a deeper mystery and surrendering a bit of the self-control to something that is numinous and mysterious and greater than ourselves. And perhaps we learn something from that surrender.
I ask people to bring intention when they go on a pilgrimage. And very often the intention is woven into their experience.
The last 4 years were quite intense in my life. I've been through a lot of changes. That was really a difficult time for me. And earlier this year, I really heard her call to come to the land and to really come here to be able to heal myself.
It's such a big, important thing for me. It's to cleanse and heal and to evolve basically for myself, so I can go back to the world and hopefully bring something loving and good to them.
So it is my first pilgrimage here, and I'd like to think that I get to know myself a bit better.
When the current annual goddess gathering began over 20 years ago, most participants were British women. But over time it's become more international, and men are increasingly involved.
If you hear about stories about Avalon, men also had a very specific and special role in servicing those priestesses, in servicing this goddess entity.
Patriarchy kept things out of balance for so long, and in our goddess culture, we need to invite the men in to bring balance to it. I mean, masculine and feminine energy is creation.
Every man has a mother. And for me, it feels like a huge family, like a huge movement. This is true bliss.
Women should be the leaders. Women should make the decisions. We do believe this is the way to actually make the world more harmonious.
This goddess pilgrimage through the elements in the landscape dedicated to the Lady of Avalon is a key part of the 21st Annual Glastonbury Goddess Conference, established in 1996 by Cathy Jones, Tina Redpath and others as a week-long celebration.
Welcome
I wanted it to be a conference in the style of the Conference of the Birds, where women could come and gather in all their plumage, in all their beauty, and celebrate Goddess together. In the 1990s, there weren't any events or gatherings of goddess-loving people where women could gather particularly to celebrate Goddess and to offer their artwork, their writing, their poetry, their dance, their music, everything. There wasn't anything like that. Because in this country, the priestess lineage was broken many thousands of years ago and is something that we seek to establish once again.
I am the lady.
It's a sisterhood when you get here, which to me was an unusual experience to work with a whole group of women, and you become deeply involved as sisters, and there's a deep trust there.
People from different countries and different cultures come together here at the Goddess Conference, and I think globally now we're in a time where there's a little too much separatism going on, and I think this whole goddess culture movement could teach the world a thing or two about acceptance.
We are here to honour the great trees of Avalon. They have woven their roots into the land as we weave our stories together. Sing, sing, sing to the trees, sing to the flowers, sing to the leaves.
We were all standing there and looking at the trees and connecting them and singing. And in the beginning, I always have a little bit in my head, like, okay, we're singing to trees. But then as I sing along and chant along and I'm able to ground myself more and more, I was able to connect with the trees and with the roots and with the ancient wisdom they carry. So that was really special.
And listen to their singing to us, the wind in their leaves.
I really felt we were just slowly stepping into a different world. If we want to find answers for ourselves in life, we need a different state of mind, different consciousness.
The route that we take is a spiral. Spirals are always symbols of Goddess. So we spiraled through the landscape and we touched into different aspects of her nature and to different parts of her physical body. We went up to Avaloka, which is right next to the Tor. And at Avaloka, we were honoring the element of earth by digging into the earth. And we are seeking the treasure that lies hidden here in the land. And in our ceremonies and in the practice of our procession, we were retrieving treasure that has been buried in the land.
It was really tribal, the ceremony. We had to literally wrap our hopes and prayers, all our wishes and honours onto our stick.
As we all sort of got nearer to the pit in the ground where all the prayers were being placed, the emotions started rising and I got quite emotional about that. And then two of our other spiral sisters joined us and we decided between us we'd go and place our sticks in the ground. We then went to a circle of priestesses to receive the blessings, and it was just in your hearts that you could feel the love from the priestesses that were doing it.
Welcome, welcome. Blessings of Mother Earth. It felt we were like on sacred lands where our ancestors were as well. Yeah, it's a spiritual experience here. And we can all fill that in, how we would like to fill that in. What
we have and everything that we do is about a spirituality. It is not a religion. People can believe whatever they want to. There is no book, there is no dogma, there is nothing that says you must believe this. And the moment it becomes a rule, we really don't like that, because it's about being responsive to spirit, to her spirit in us.
It's a rainbow, it's a huge spectrum, and this is why it cannot be a religion.
I got to lead a few songs up there with everybody, and we become one voice up that way, and I really felt that up there as we were all singing together in the shadow of the Glastonbury tour. You know, it was very beautiful.
We spiraled on down to Chalice Well to honour the waters of this land, the sacred and holy waters at Chalice Well. Then we climbed Chalice Hill to honour the element of air and to feel the wind on our skin and the different elements of her nature as the mother of air, of fire, of water, and of earth, and the space that is between all things.
We are drawn here together on her womb. Sit down, lay down, belly to her belly. Feeling her heartbeat, beating for millennia.
We were asked to lay on our front, so as our heart connected to the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And it was the blessing of the element of air. The breath of the lady of air was the tinkling as they came round and tinkled all of us.
The sounds of nature plus the bells can just shift something and bring them elsewhere. That's it, it's simple.
We all had to connect to the ground, and actually I was laying down on the ground fully with my head in the ground, my arms, my hands, my full body. And in the beginning my mind was like, oh, I cannot breathe, or but as I made conscious breaths, conscious breathing, I started to really connect with the earth. And then at one point I felt like I was dropping into the earth, and I was really melting with earth, and I became earth, and I was Mother Earth. And we are living in a society in which we need to explain everything in words and with our heads, and we need structures and everything. But often we maybe need more surrendering and opening to feeling and to emotion.
And then we spiraled on to Bushy-Coombe to celebrate fire and the mother of fire.
This is the Lammas fire. This is the celebration of Lammas, but it's also the time of the mother. It's a time of abundance, of the harvest, of joy, of just celebration of life.
It was walking alone but walking with everybody. No matter who you are, what your faith, what your creed, colour, whatever, everybody is accepted here. Everybody is treated the same. Everybody is part of this tribe that we've become for the week.
I feel healed, like the last wounds of that hard time I buried deep in the ground here.
It just felt very deep and very ancient, and it was resonating in my body, and I cried a lot. It just felt true, and yeah, I think I remember it a long time.
All the singing, all the gatherings, getting together, the sense of community and the love that is spreading through the whole group. And for me, it's just been transforming. It's just wonderful. I've loved the whole day, absolutely loved it.